Welcome to CSL TV, and I just hope you guys are having a beautiful, blessed day. Now, if you're new to the channel, this is just a review, a reaction, as well as an informational channel. Hopefully the informational part help you or someone out, and we're just gonna watch some videos and talk about them, just to see what type of folks we live with in this world, because we can't be everywhere at all times. And if you've been rocking with me, I just gotta say thank you so much for rocking with your boy, because you could be somewhere else, but you decide to rock with CSL TV. Now, I don't want to make this intro too long, so let's get it.
When you're a kid, they say you're capable of anything, and that's what this little girl showed the world, just not in ways you would expect.
She witnessed things that grown people would be traumatized for the rest of their lives and never be able to speak about.
There have been stories of victims who have suffered the most unimaginable horrors at the hands of the sickest, most vile monsters to ever walk the face of the planet, but only a few of them live to tell the tale. This is the story of Shasta Grown, the 8-year-old girl who manipulated her kidnapper and trapped him at Dennys. Be warned, not everybody has the stomach for her deeply disturbing tale.
I don't think anything prepared me for the experience in the Grown murder investigation.
We have a homicide scene with one adult male, one adult female, and one juvenile male. Our main concern right now are the 2 children we cannot find.
On May 15, 2005, Shasta Grown's family was murdered by Joseph Edward Duncan, also known as the Night Vision serial killer, inside their home. A registered sex offender who was out on parole, he stalked the family and had his eyes on Shasta and her 9-year-old brother Dylan. After beating their mother Brenda, stepfather Mark, and 13-year-old brother Slade with a hammer, Duncan took Shasta and Dylan to a campsite where he raped, abused, and tortured them like there was no tomorrow. Duncan often took out his anger on Shasta, but most especially on Dylan. At one point, he tape recorded himself raping the young boy as he shouted, "The devil is here, boy, the devil himself."
He would abuse him and then make me watch. And if I cried, then he would abuse him worse.
Yet, Duncan was never satisfied. In the midst of all the abuse, he dangled hope in the kids' faces like bait to a fish. He manipulated them into thinking that they had a chance of making it out alive if they obeyed his every whim. He even made them write letters to their biological dad. But Shasta was strong, wise, and brave beyond her years. She knew that her secret weapon was gaining his trust.
I would ask questions about his life, ask him about his family, and could I meet them one day?
It was a conscious thing, like I need to make him think that I love him or that I want to be here with him.
Shasta and Dylan saw a glimmer of hope, but not for long. Duncan would shoot Dylan in front of Shasta and even ask her to carry her brother's body to be burned afterward. The young girl had lost everything and was in shock. She didn't talk for a week. Eventually, Shasta regained her courage and her will to live. She continued to make Duncan believe she didn't want to leave his side. Everything seemed well until Duncan told her that she still had to go. He gave her a choice, to be shot or strangled to death. Shasta chose the latter.
He had me lay down on the ground and he put a rope around my neck. I said, "Please don't, Jet."
Shasta had called Duncan by his nickname and it had disarmed him. In the next few days, Duncan would ask Shasta if she wanted to meet his mom, bring her to a convenience store downtown, and finally at Dennys.
I've got a little girl here with a tall gentleman, and she looks so much like this Shasta.
It's just often weird to me. The girl looks exactly like the little girl.
A man and a waitress at the restaurant recognized Shasta from the news, and everyone worked together to save the little girl. As the police arrived at the scene, the officer asked Shasta for her name. Not wanting to upset Duncan, Shasta said her name was Katie, but Duncan did something that would surprise her. He told her to say her real name. So Shasta did, and the police immediately cuffed Duncan, bringing him to justice. Joseph Edward Duncan was sentenced to death for his crimes, but he would die in prison from brain cancer. And that was how a little girl with enormous courage saved her own life.
Man, this sick ass you know what I'm trying to say? Hey, they shouldn't have let him die to brain cancer. This motherfucker should have got the lethal injection, or, you know what I'm saying, how they do it overseas, where he get tortured and do what he do. And I'm not trying to say that's the right thing to do, but he was showing some very demonic and shit that little girl got to live with for the rest of her life. You know what I'm saying? She is not okay with what life and how things went for her, So he shouldn't have died of brain cancer. He should have had other ways of his death. They shouldn't have let him be able to live in prison as long as he did. As far as and everything else, I mean, man, rest in peace to, you know, that little boy and his family who was grieving. Man, that's crazy. I don't know what to say. That is just sick and crazy.
This story out of Wisconsin is extremely disturbing, and we have to warn you, this might be hard to watch. This is 24-year-old Chad Thyrion from Green Bay, a talented artist and woodcarver. Back in February, he was having an affair with his high school classmate, this married 25-year-old woman, Taylor Shaw Business. One night, they were reportedly sleeping together and smoking meth when Shaw Business allegedly went crazy and strangled Thyrion to death. But that's not all, not by a long shot. She then allegedly dismembered his body and sexually assaulted him. After he was killed, Thyrion's mother found his decapitated head at the bottom of her stairway. Other body parts were found in a box in her car. When it was being decided whether she was fit to stand trial, she brutally attacked her own lawyer in this wild moment caught on camera. Now, she's being held on a $2 million bond and faces life in prison. She was ultimately found competent to stand trial and got a new attorney after the attorney she attacked requested to be removed. And just this week, the court unsealed more documents while keeping some under wraps because they're too graphic and, quote, might shock the conscience of the jury. One of those new details, that the victim's penis was removed from his body and kept by the suspect. After months of delay, her trial is slated to start in July.
Man, shout out to my homegirl Angie over at Notice News for this information. This lady is very sick, y'all. That's all that was. She is suffering from some kind of sickness that's making her be crazy and fucking with all them drugs or whatever, you know what I'm saying, stuff she put in her body, because we only know bits and pieces of it. This is why she was, you know, it messed her mind up is what I'm trying to say. That's why y'all don't need to be doing that stuff out here, man. I mean, it's bad enough we gotta take this shit the doctors give us when we need to, let alone you willingly taking stuff that can get you into these type of state of mind. So y'all just be careful what you do, be careful who you're around, and evidently who you screw.